right with that. I am a dad. I am a dad. Hey, man, I've got two 10-year-old boys at home. You know, we just did a...
That's fair.
That's fair? It's okay to be called dad? That's all right.
They're qualified.
All right. Now they're calling me daddy. That's actually a little terrifying.
At least they're calling you daddy and not me. So that's something.
Oh, just you wait until they see the rework. That may change their tune. Bazinga. Anyways. Sorry, no, that was more of a giggity, I think. Okay, all right, here we go. So I'm part of the player relations team. Joining me today is Sol Kim. Say hi, Sol.
Hello.
Hello. Sol is you were the designer behind the Galio update. Is that right?
That was me.
Okay. So you're saying this. You're not sure. You know what? I gotta say, I think that
I have to remember whether I was actually the designer.
You okay? So folks would know you from what projects in the past that you've worked on?
So it would be, if we go way back, it would be like that people would be able to still identify would be Victor, Gragas, Poppy, Yorick, and then Galio.
Gangplank.
That's right, you did that.
Gangplank, half of Gangplank.
Half a gang, but you did that Yorick update. That's actually my most played champ.
You're one of the few, aren't you?
I am one of the few. I love the new Yorick. I actually really like him.
The character basically has a very dedicated player base.
Yeah.
Is what I will say.
Yeah.
Which was kind of what we were going for, so I'm pretty happy with it.
Well, we're not here to talk about Yorick today.
Nope.
We are here to talk about Galio. Also joining us, I think I introduced him earlier, but this is Ben. Ben, what is your red name, sir?
Cesium.
Cesium. So Cesium, Ben Cesium, hyphenated last name.
Yep. Crazy.
Was the main playtester throughout the Galio update. Ben, you've been a playtester here at Riot for quite a while now.
Yeah, it's been about a year and a half or so.
About a year and a half. I used to carpool with Ben back in the day, and he used to tell us how terrible all the rest of us in the car were at playing the game of League of Legends. So
he was probably right, to be fair.
he was probably right. I think most of the people in the car were like silver and below.
Yeah.
In fact, I know for a fact that most of the people in the car were definitely bronze. So it's okay. But anyways, we are here to show you all Galio. And I'm super excited about it. So before we actually get into a game, and we are going to get into a game in just a few minutes with the playtest team, we've got an in-house setup with those guys. We're going to jump into practice mode. So Ben, you want to go ahead and jump into practice mode real fast? And I left my notebook at my desk, so I don't have my notes from yesterday to go over with you.
Before something bugs out.
All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to jump over to that screen with Ben. We are showing off the new practice mode, introduced, one patch ago, 2 patches ago? It is in the League client update, so if you are still on the older client and you want to use practice mode, you should definitely switch over to that new client. Little shout out for
bright people.
It is really, yeah. Well, I mean, it's like practice mode and replays and all sorts of cool stuff here in the updated client. So definitely. So here we go, folks. We're going to show you the abilities. All right, so let's talk a little bit while we're loading up and getting him into position there. Let's talk a little bit about Galio, the current quote kit on live. What is we're showing off the Gatekeeper Galio already? All right, let's see how it is. All right, so let's. Oh, thank you, Kristen. You're awesome. Kristen brought my notebook over. She's very nice. So let's talk a little bit about Galio's current kit. Like, where does Galio fit into the current, not the current meta, like per se, but like where does he fit in as a champ right now?
Well, Galio on live is, I would say, like has a lot of identities actually. Compared, like he's basically has 2 poke abilities on the character. He has a spell that he can use to protect allies like directly, and he has that like win the team fight like an AOEC ultimate that a lot of our tanks tend to have.
Okay.
And he also has that like MR into AP thing, which makes him like stronger against like magic damage picks.
Okay. Very cool. All right, so he is the MR tank. Generally speaking, he's played top lane. You see him sometimes.
He's played mid lane.
Or, I'm sorry. Generally speaking, he's played mid lane mostly right now. You will, however, sometimes see him top lane. Sometimes you'll even see him support. It'll happen.
Everyone plays something support. Like at this point, I've learned to realize that even if we release like a marksman, people will play in support.
Okay, so let's go. All right, you're getting ahead of us a little bit here, Ben. I know that the ult is hypey.
He's having fun.
You're having fun. But let's not. That was like an Aatrox on steroids with that ult, man. It's crazy.
Man,
I love it.
Aatrox, yep. This is the rework.
That's about to say.
I just need to make the person who's working on Aatrox work on Galio. That's
So,
what I need to do.
about to say, yeah, I saw a comment yesterday in the Reddit thread that was up about this. It said it was announcing the Aatrox rework, and we just moved his abilities to Galio.
I also saw like Malphite R and like Vi Q and Vi R and a bunch of other stuff.
Oh yeah, no, I think folks are speculating a lot right now, but you know what? We're about to give them the look at what Galio actually is right now. And yes, rip Aatrox, I realize that Scarborough is probably out there somewhere watching, crying right now a little bit, but that's okay.
What I know about Scarborough, he'll be playing whatever the EOP is at the time.
Oh, wow. All right, so anyways.
He's out of here now. I can burn bridges.
All right, so let's go. You know, it's a small industry. I'm just going to say that. It's a small industry.
We go way back. He'll understand.
I bet. I hope he's in the chat right now.
I hope so too. Hey Patrick, you in the chat now?
All right, so let's go ability by ability. So if you could do me a favor, Ben, if you can hover over the tooltip. So let's go ability by ability. So what's the Q? Let's describe the Q here.
The Q first. Okay. Q is basically.
Oh no, I'm sorry. The passive. We got to go with the passive first.
Okay,
So let's go to the passive. There we go.
Passive is basically every X seconds your next hit auto attack deals like magic damage and an AOE. The quirk about it is that if you remember like old days of like Poppy Q or like Mordekaiser Q kind of stuff, it used to convert your physical damage to like magic. This actually does that. So Ben, hit something.
In there.
If you see it, the entirety of the damage is magic damage instead of like being like in a physical plus magic. So it just converts like all the damage it deals to magic damage.
Okay.
And the other quirk is that it refreshes by half of this duration when his spells hit a champion. Okay. So your trading pattern will generally go something like you go in, hit them with the passive, hit them with like your Q and W generally probably, and then immediately refresh the passive for another passive hit.
Okay. Very cool. I love, so speaking of the Q, I love this kind of like, we talked about this yesterday, but it's kind of like the double Diana arc with the Q. I really like this pattern. Like, it seems like it adds a lot to gameplay. So let's talk a little bit about the Q. Describe the Q to folks, and if Ben, if you can.
The Q is, I mean, like Diana Q is like a semi-accurate representation where you basically throw like two curved missiles that converge at the point that you directed it at. When they actually meet, they basically become like a big tornado that'll deal dot damage over time. The tornado basically also has like max health damage that is intended to allow him to scale over time, as we expect the character to not build all out AP. So even if he builds a little bit of AP and then goes start building tanky, we wanted this damage to scale a little bit over time.
So because we're gonna get the questions right. Full AP Galio. Do you think this is gonna be a thing? Or are we gonna be seeing just a lot of glass cannon Galios running around?
I would expect that not to be super effective.
Okay.
I would not put it past people to try it. I'm sure I'll see the Lichbane one-shot Galio montage somewhere at some point.
Right. Oh, the game sound is muted. Oh, sorry, folks. Just kidding. All right, now you can hear the game
I
sound.
don't expect that to be a thing, and if it's actually a thing, we'll probably nerf it. I'll be really honest.
Okay.
So, yeah.
All right, that's cool. Good to be upfront with folks. So you can see, folks, at where, Sol was describing, where the two kind of projectiles meet. There creates a little AOE field right there that lasts for about 1.5 seconds. Is that right?
1.5 seconds.
Okay.
Takes over time. One of the nice things that they need to actually meet to actually create the tornadoes. If you use Yasuo, who I'm sure you all love, when one of the two hits, the big tornado will.
Okay.
So both of them actually meet.
Okay. Very cool. All right. Is there ever a situation in which they won't meet? It looks like the projectile path is set.
No, they will always meet unless something destroys them on the way.
Okay, so something like a
bomb shield.
Stuff like that. Can you turn the game volume down just a wee bit there, Ben? Folks are saying it's kind of loud.
Turn that down?
Probably down to 10. That's perfect. There we go. Okay, hopefully that's okay. What is the actual cooldown on the ability?
It goes down from 10 to 6.
10 to 6.
It is indeed a very repeatable button as he builds CDR.
Okay.
And it along with his passive will be the brunt of your damage.
Okay, very cool. All right, so let's move on to the W. This is getting kind of back more into the tanky roots of Galio, right? So let's talk a little bit about this W.
It has a passive and an active component. The passive should be fairly simple to explain. It's basically, think of like Malphite Shield that only works against magic damage. So if you stay out of combat for X amount of seconds, you will gain a shield that blocks magic damage. But I guess the difference is that it takes longer than Malphite to recharge, but it also like scales up higher than Malphite's does. So Malphite's is like fixed at 10 at all ranks. And 10 at all levels, 10% of his max health. Galio's goes up to 20%.
Okay.
As he's ranked up.
Does his passive shield, does that benefit from Colossus as well, Courage of the Colossus?
Passive shield. I mean, Colossus will just throw another shield on top of it.
On top of it already.
Yeah,
Okay.
it won't. It'll basically be like a normal shield on top of a magic shield.
Okay. Interesting. Okay. Very cool. All right. So the E is a.
Wait,
oh,
we
sorry.
need to explain
Oh, we
the
didn't even do like the
actual
actual active. So like, sorry about that. Let's show the active.
So the active is basically, if you think of like Varus Q, Vi Q, Poppy R, those kind of abilities. This is the cast paradigm is pretty much the same thing. So if you're like smart casting, you would hold the button down to charge it and then release it.
Okay.
If you're not smart casting, you would tap it twice to release it.
Okay. Ben, can you show us an example of that in action there? So you can see he's walking. You're able to move.
You're slow ball moving. You can't do anything else other than like do stuff like flash and stuff like that.
Right.
When you release the spell, it taunts everyone around you.
Okay.
And the taunt duration and the radius that you can see increases the longer you hold the spell.
Okay.
The taunt duration goes up to 1.5, which is like a really strong ability to be on a basic.
Yes.
And the idea around the character is basically that he has like. We wanted to sell a lot of like bigness feel to the character.
Yeah.
So the character's effects are generally cool, but they tend to take a long time to like activate or like have a lot of telegraphing. So this W, as you can see, he needs to charge it for like over 1 second to actually get the full max radius and duration. If he snaps it, it's only a 0.5 second taunt, which is like still something, but it's relatively much more.
I mean, having an on-demand taunt, like I think that's huge. I know I was talking to a few rioters who actually are pretty excited about this rework, and they were just like, "Are you kidding me? Galio having a kind of an AOE taunt that's not on his ult." They're just like super stoked about that, and I'm seeing a lot of folks in the chat right now who are just like, "Holy!" So I think it'll be a lot of fun. All right, so are we ready to move on to that E?
Yeah. All right. Yeah. The E is basically the effect is basically a skill shot dash. So if you think of Sejuani Q. Released Vi Q or stuff like that. There's a bunch of spells that do a similar actual output on the ability. The quirks that this thing has is one is that it has a jump back. It has a much larger telegraph time, so it's 0.5 seconds of a cast time. Where if you cast it, he'll jump back. Can you cast that, Ben?
Oh, yeah. Just show the wind up there. There you go.
There's a much longer wind up than almost any. It's one of the longest wind up basic abilities in the game.
Yeah.
But the travel speed is actually relatively fast, and the jump back actually has is an actual move. So in some cases, you can actually dodge stuff.
Right, we were talking about that yesterday. Where look, he is played mid lane, and we know that he'll end up going up against some things like LeBlanc and Lux or things like that, right? And so let's say you do want to dodge that skill shot. Just hitting the dash actually, if there is that margin of error, right? You can literally just kind of step back and then you shoot right forward. So.
The other one is that this thing doesn't go over walls, as Ben is showing us. So, yeah.
Ben, you're gonna hurt yourself, man.
R.I.P. to the dreams of the wall escapes.
I know, right?
It wasn't really fitting. The other thing is that it doesn't actually. It's not an AOE spell. It actually hits only one person.
Right, and that one person it hits got that minor knock up to it, right?
It has the knock up on top of it. Yeah.
Okay, so if you are actually playing against a Galio as a LeBlanc, for example, you will see the wind up. You have the opportunity. You probably have more of a chance to dodge that dash than any other.
This is probably one of the easiest spells to dodge in the game.
Right.
In all honesty. You would probably, if you get hit by it, you'll probably take a lot of damage. And
right.
the thought would be that, yes, you probably deserve to.
You deserve to because you didn't pay attention and didn't dodge, right? I'm sorry, you deserve to because you lagged out, and it's totally not the fact that you're playing on Wi-Fi, right? I'm just kidding. I'm giving you all a hard time. Void Timo says, why can't it go through walls? That's a good question. Why did we decide this dash can't go through walls?
One of the biggest reasons is that over-the-wall mobility is something that makes a character, is one of the biggest factors in making a character actually mobile in the game, because going over walls, only few people can follow you over the wall. It effectively gives you a really easy in a way to escape and engage. And on a character on a tank who has a very strong durability profile and CC, you don't actually need that power. Having that power means that you need to pay for it in other places.
Yeah.
But we would much rather that the people who are really squishy and will die if they get caught.
It's a little bit of displacement, and so it's not quite as straightforward as you would think, but that makes sense. I see that now. Okay, very cool. Let's talk about the Q range. There we go. Very cool. And then obviously the W doesn't really... Well, the W does have a charging range, and we can see that indicated by the ground FX there. There's that whole... Okay.
If you hover over the W, you'll see the range actually.
Yep. Very cool. All right, let's go on to this sexy ult. This is really cool. Ben, do you mind setting up the Timo dummies there to kind of showcase the capability of the ult? There we go. All right. So let's talk about this thing. Folks already got a little bit of a sneak peek, but let's talk about what this ult is.
So the ult is basically target an ally like Shen. It's semi-global, so it starts at 4,000 range and goes up to 5,500.
Okay.
Right now. The moment you cast a spell, the ally gets a damage reduction shield, which is on his W also.
Okay.
For just to help save that person and keep the case where he just dies instantly after you cast it.
Kind of like a...
Difference is that Shen is a flat health shield, which generally ends up being better when the guy in a more better. when the character actually has some health that can play with in the first place,
Right,
because
okay.
of the damage reduction shield. The intent is that we wanted Galio, like, and we know that people will use it for that too, where like we will have people like jumping in with like Camille, like Irelia, like Jax, Rengar, whatever you
Right.
want to run in with, and then like vaulting on top of them. And like we wanted to actually expand the concept of Warden from just being like, sit around the ADC and like, just peel for the ADC kind of thing.
Right.
We have some people who do that, but like protecting a person doesn't mean that you have to protect the ADC. Like,
Right.
why can't someone protect the Akali?
Yeah.
Why can't someone like protect the Vi that goes in?
I mean, I think it like to me, and then keep in mind, like I'm not the best player in the world, folks. I'm going to be the first to admit that. Like to me, it actually adds quite a bit of nuance to the ult, right? Because like you said, it's not just for peeling. It's not just an oh shit button to save your squishy's life. It can be used, especially if you're playing coordinated. Like if you're
You really need to coordinate to pull off
Yeah.
this ult in like in a initiating manner, because if you cast it, the land.
Oh, you hear that, folks? Did you hear that? Oh, here we go. All right. What was that? Okay.
Save the Gragas.
He was saving the Gragas, so that's good. And then the Q there. Oh, nice.
Oh, he just walked into it.
He did. He literally did walk into it. And it was that. Gosh, his farming is really good, actually.
It turns on after a certain point. Early on, it's not as good, but
Right.
as you go on, it becomes much better.
So current Malphite, obviously he has challenges early game, right? Like he's not the. Oh, is that a Callista?
Yeah, it's a Callisto.
I haven't seen a Callista in forever.
So.
Right now, the current kid on Malphite, like he's like you said, he's weak early, right? Is that still
Yeah.
not Malphite? Sorry, Galio. Yeah, the other rock guy. Right now, early Galio is not the strongest laning phase. Like his mana, he has mana issues early.
Still
Still
mana issues, and like he doesn't have a range auto attack if he goes mid, for example.
Okay.
That stuff.
Ben, are we going to see a Galio top lane game next?
We could, if you want me to.
That'd be cool.
I mostly play in mid, but
You mostly play in mid?
Yeah.
Well, you're a top laner by trade, quote, quote, right?
Yes.
Okay. So yeah, I know some folks are going to want to see him top lane, so maybe if we can show off like a top lane comp, if that's possible.
Sure.
Zerny PL, any new skin concepts for him? I don't believe we have any new skins
Even
to
if we
announce.
did, we won't be able to say anything.
Yeah,
about
this isn't really the place where we kind of announce like new skins and stuff like that. Oh, nice. A little wombo. That's nice, like the Q does kind of create that area of denial as well.
It does.
So that's good. Oh, speaking of the wombos. Nope. Nope, you don't want this. Nope. It's very nice.
Well, Riven's killing everyone somehow.
Vylon Oram is asking, what makes Galio more of a mid laner compared to other tanks? He has the same tools as other mid laners. I'm not sure what the question was in there.
I'd assume he has the same tools as other tanks would be the actual question.
Maybe?
I hope.
I don't know. So what does make him more of a mid laner than
Couple
other
of
tanks?
things. He has much better wave clear than most tanks.
Right.
He also has. It also is like ranged. He also has like a much better poke tool compared to like. It's still not the greatest thing out there.
Right. Ooh. He did die, but he got a nice knockup there.
Oh, what? He didn't die. Oh.
You gonna get him? Oh, no. Nope. Rip. Oh! It seems like the Nautilus like would have like walked right into your little
Probably
sphere.
walked back.
He probably juked it.
We couldn't see it. But.
Okay. Calypso Raven, a new skin for York maybe. I wish. Nothing to announce. No new skins to
wish
announce
too.
here. I want York skins personally.
It probably is a lot of work to make it, but
I imagine so with all the different things. And it would have to be coded as 55 minions actually. So. Let's see here. That's the meme, isn't it?
well, it's not a meme if it's the truth.
Okay, fair enough.
York specifically is actually not a meme. So.
Ruler of Chaos says where all of his MR scaling is going into passive QWER. Yeah, like all of them. Not all of them. The
Only
passive, yes.
Passive W and R.
Passive W and R. Right. Okay.
Q and E are all AP scaling.
Okay. Very cool. Oh wow, you are rude. Let's see here. We've already talked a little bit about his AP scaling. By the way, folks, we are going to post the VOD of this stream later on. So if you want to go back, you want to watch it, You can catch up on anything that you might have missed. If you're just now tuning in, welcome to the stream. My name is Andy Belford, aka Zwill. I'm part of the player relations team here at Riot Games. Joining me is Sol Kim, who is the designer on the Galio Champion update team.
The Aatrox update.
The Aatrox update. Sorry, God, this is so bad. Oh, this might be really good. Is he gonna get it? No, he is wisely not chasing that. That was very quickly turning into something bad.
You don't catch a Callista.
Well, you don't catch a Callista. You don't, especially not when they're walking back into a brand. And so this is Sol Kim, aka Soul Crushed. He is the designer on the Galio update team. And of course, we have Ben over there, Cesium. He is the playtester for the Galio update. So thank you for tuning in and joining us today. We are on the PBE right now, showing off the new Galio kit and showing some gameplay. Let's see. Ben has built his Megatron cloak. Does not yet have a fully complete. Oh no, he does. He has a Roa, or not Roa.
He has a Roa.
No, yeah, Roa.
He has a Roa and a Phoenix Codex.
Yep. So he has one complete item so far. I told you I'm not the best at the game. I need to get better.
That's because you play Flash on D.
That is because I play Flash on D. That is true. It's also because I'm a Teemo main. I'm kidding. I'm not a Teemo main. I'm a York main. Everybody knows that. Let's see here. Thomas Orion says, was there ever a plan to convert damage done to Galio into magic damage?
Damage done to Galio to magic damage.
That's interesting.
No, not really. We don't generally like those kind of mechanics because it actually takes away the coolness, if you will, of building to your enemy's strengths. It also makes it really hard for the enemy to actually itemize any kind of penetration on you. I'm dealing AD damage, but my damage to Galio becomes magic. Do I now build magic pen or something like that?
Right.
Really weird.
That is kind of a strange. I guess it makes the choices. I guess the item choices, especially, a lot more muddy, right? Do I even play this game? I do. I promise. Let's see here. FJF and stuff says, does his E work in cast anti-dash flash field thing?
I will not say you.
No, it doesn't.
No. Okay. So basically, anything that would cancel a dash will cancel his E.
Yep.
So, all right, this could be an interesting. He did his E. Did he do his E? W. He did his W. He got a nice taunt there. He's gonna give Glebe the DR. Sacrifice himself. Well, he got a kill though. Okay. Was that just that desperation cue that you just kind of threw out there? Kind of. Okay. Hey,
He was gonna die anyway. So.
it's all good. It's worth, right? What is toilet water? What is a Callista? It's a new champion be released. That's not true. It is. This is welcome to the Aatrox rework. This is actually the Aatrox and Rise rework all in one. This is the new Rise kit.
Yeah, Rise is coming next time. It was called Urgot, but we named it as Rise.
We just renamed it Rise. Okay, that's fair. Well, I mean, he does need a rework. Yeah. So, Urgot Blue. Wow. No, this is nothing. It's nothing especially the new Urgot. But let's see here. Why doesn't Galio? Okay, here we go. This is a good question. Pimp the Monkey says, why doesn't new Galio have a heal anymore?
Your team has destroyed a turret.
Well, how do I call it? Mainly because so I guess it would be more about, I have to talk about this in old Galio had a lot of things going on with the character. And it was basically all over the place, if you will.
Okay.
Which we wanted to choose which ones we need to keep on the character and which ones we didn't decide to not. And the heal was basically the one that we decided to. So
Gotcha. GBS says, I know you guys are joking about it, but this Galio could just be Aatrox. What's the difference that he builds AP? I think there's a lot of differences between him and Aatrox. The W alone, Hey
There's a
Ben,
lot of difference.
your screen's gray.
I'm aware.
Do you have a bug going on?
I think so.
Okay, you got the gray screen bug.
I mean,
seems kind of often, though.
getting kills. There's got to be something wrong, right?
It does, yeah. So I'm sorry. So what we were saying, like he is definitely different than Aatrox in a lot of ways, right? Let's see here. Oh, by the way, folks, if you have not yet, go ahead and vote on the straw poll to see which Galio skin we're going to do next. Right now, Hextech and Enchanted are neck and neck. They're separated by 2 whole votes. So I'm actually really excited to see this. I'm kind of pulling for Hextech personally.
I like Hextech too.
I think
Enchanted
Enchanted is cool too. And there's also base, but not a lot of people are voting for base. Debonair, not a whole lot of people voting it. Well, it's actually not. It's pretty well.
I'm interested if the commando's that low.
I don't think for some people Commando is not as exciting. I think, but Hextech, like there's a lot of people who like Steampunk out there, right? So, you know, God, there's just like so much movement right now.
They didn't have the vein levels then.
Oh, that'll do it.
Oh, nice turn.
Nice. And so is he. This may actually end up being no.
Is it the typical Riven game?
It is the typical Riven game. Oh, Riven. Destromath, can you make a definitely not Aatrox skin for Galio?
We should make that for every character.
I think we should. Yeah, we should. Yeah. I actually the definitely not Vel'Koz skins is one of my favorites. I love that.
I love the definitely not series. The
Very
Blitz
cool.
series is also cool.
All right, so I know we talked about this earlier. You mentioned we talked about like, hey, full AP. El Koenig is asking full AP Galio. Is it still going to be viable? You said earlier that's not the intention of him. We're going to watch that very closely, and if
I
it
mean,
becomes
it's okay that it's like a fun, like in a usable, like a viable, like an okay build.
Yeah.
We probably don't want that to become his default build.
Yep.
If that happens to the case, we'll probably tweak some things to make that not the case. But we're totally okay where okay, well, people build like AP and and have fun and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. You know, some people build AP Susan. You know, it's okay.
Yeah. AP Susan.
Yep. Trindamir 1888. Is that the real Robert X. Lee? It sure is. It sure is.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure it's the real Robert X. Lee. I don't know. I forgot. All right. Keala 7. So his ult is useless in lane unless there's an ally?
It's not really useful in the lane, no. It is much more of like a roaming ult / like a saving. So
yeah.
TF ult is quote unquote useless in the lane. You could think of it as similar.
Right. So I mean, here's the thing. Galio is not meant to be. Oh, nice. Oh gosh. Galio is not he's not meant to be an initiator, right? He is a tank, right?
No, he's not intended to be an initiator.
Yeah.
He can do it somewhat. He doesn't have the greatest time doing it. He generally is best when he can rely on another initiator to do it.
Let's see here. Zalted13 is asking, is there any specific reasoning as to why Galio can't E-Flash?
E-Flash, these dash flash interactions are something that we generally are somewhat divided on, honestly, and people are happy or unhappy with it to a different extent, mainly because of the complete lack of counterplay it generally tends to bring.
Okay.
On the flip side, it does allow for the characters to engage on people relatively reliably with the flash. So we generally tend to make it so that people who really want to be, whose job is supposed to be engaging on enemies, to be able to do the dash flash. Like Sejuani can do it, Gragas can do it. But on characters who we don't want that to be the primary use case, we would generally disable it. So that's the land we're at.
Okay, cool. Why isn't his ult to initiate? He looks like a meat shield. The fresh pair is asking. I mean, that's intentional. Like we said, we don't want him to be initiated. Can you talk a little bit more about the role that not Vanguard, Wardens in the meta, within the game itself? Like Galio is a Warden. What are some other Wardens?
I mean, Wardens would Braum would be a complete Warden.
Right.
basically the type of characters that basically tank for your team, like basically create like places where they have a hard time like getting through, and basically being that like stabilizing power, like.
Okay. So like he's not intended to be. Not Malphite.
He's definitely not.
He's not, he's not going to be like your Darius or your Malphite who just jumps in there and is like YOLO. I guess I just said YOLO. Hello, fellow kids.
Holy shit. Is that Brand?
I don't know if that was Brand. I think that was Cass.
Probably was Cass.
It was Brand was a big part of that. I don't think my captain's telling the truth.
All right. So
This will save the track.
it is internal. No, it's not internal. This is PBE. This is PBE. Yeah. Episode 911 is asking. Episode 911 is asking. Can you please name off some champs that synergize well with Galio's ult?
Malphite, Amumu, these kind like any character that has like a strong like an engaged tool will obviously synergize really well with it. Characters like that have like a really easy time getting to the back line, like assassins generally tend to like it a lot too.
Okay.
Vi, anyone who has like divers and assassins will also like it.
I think we were talking about earlier Camille, like Camille and Galio can actually work pretty well. By the way, folks, if you're just now tuning in, thank you for joining us. This is the Galio PBE stream. We are here with Soul Crushed, aka Soul Kim. He is the designer on the Galio update team. One of many folks who worked very hard to bring you this complete visual and gameplay update for Galio. Also joining us is Ben. He's also known as Cesium, is his red name. And he is the playtester all throughout development of the new Galio kit. So, and then my name is Andy Belford. I'm part of the player relations team here at Riot Games. So, thank you very much for tuning in, folks. We are about an hour or so. Yeah, we're about an hour into the stream right now. So if you didn't get to see the first hour of the stream, go back. We'll post the VOD here later on. Be sure to check out the VOD and get all the questions answered. You can see you can see Soul come in late. That did not look like a good choice you made there.
Well, it was like 2 tanks versus a tank and an EC.
Yeah. It's never gonna go well.
Never gonna go well.
Callista's pretty bad.
Okay. All right. So if you do have questions, folks, go ahead and type at League of Legends in front of us. That'll let us know that it's a question for us. To let you know the kind of questions that we're here asking, like we said, Soul is the gameplay designer behind the Galio updates. So we're not really going to be able to answer questions about skins, about like costs and stuff like that. What I will say in regards to those things, consider it pretty much like any visual game update that we do. Along the lines of like Poppy or something like that. If you own it, you're going to have it. And all that good stuff. But what we can answer is questions about gameplay, like abilities. Obviously, Soul and Ben both have a lot of experience in playing this new champ, so they can offer you their insight as well. But what we will say, and we always caveat it with, is the fact that look, we have our kind of assumptions and our thoughts about how things will be doing. Honestly, though, we never know until the champ actually gets into your hands. So, like like we were saying earlier, like we don't intend for him to be played a certain way. Oh my gosh, Raka, please! Wow, I'm going to. She better stand back. If Baron even like farts in her general direction, she is dead. Oh man, cast. Oh what?
Oh, that R.
The R, no kidding, right? The enemy team stole it. Oh. That was yours too. That was your alls. I'm so sad. Okay. All right, you can do this. You can come back from this. All right, so let's go ahead and let's ask. Next, can we go? let's go ahead and let's ask some questions. Let's see here. Which champ is next on the list for updates? So I believe next on is it what?
It's always Aatrox.
It's always Aatrox. I thought it was always Rise.
That's also true.
It's always Rise
we
and
only do Rise
Aatrox.
once a year.
No, so if you go to the champ up page, and if Kristen's out there in chat, she can issue the command for that. You can see the full list. I believe right now we have Wardens coming up. Right.
We have tanks coming up.
Tanks
so
coming up. Not specifically Wardens, but we have tanks coming up, and that's going to be around like mid-season, I believe. And then we also have Urgot on the list, and Evelyn is on the list for updates. So, are you working on either of those two right now?
I am not the designer of those, although I am obviously familiar with it because they're on my team.
Very cool. Very exciting. No hints about it right now, folks. Sorry. It's probably too early to give you all hints anyways.
Yeah,
So-
trust key.
Yep. There we go. We should have the enemy team just play Aatrox next game, just so that it could be like. All right. So somebody asked earlier about we have another Galio jungle. Like, how is his jungle clear? We have a lot more questions. Galio jungle, not what we consider the best idea. He's not really designed for that. You know, you're going to have probably clear problems early on, especially, and then mana problems as well. They did. There's that Brando going ping-ponging all throughout it, though. I think this may be curtains for the good guys, though. Well, maybe not. I don't know. They have no more Baron buffs now, so this may actually not be the worst thing. Jovial Panda says, "Why did you make his passive scale with bonus attack damage?"
It doesn't actually. It's basically it just converts your 8 attack.
It converts the attack
So
damage
if you
into
build
AP.
attack damage, it'll obviously go like, quote unquote scale, but it doesn't like it doesn't have like a special scale.
See, that just looks so epic what he just did right there. Like, that looked really amazing. Because he just like came in from across the map and it was like, whoa!
It's very heroic.
It's a very much so kind of a Superman landing is what I call it, right?
Superhero landing.
Yeah, it's a look, she's gonna do the superhero landing.
The Deadpool.
The Deadpool moment, that's right. Ice Killer, does the Maokai build work on him? So Gauntlet, Sunfire, Spirit Visage, and other tank items?
I mean, it'll work. I mean, those are kind of like items that will work on any kind of tank.
Yeah,
in all
right,
honesty.
yeah.
Galio does generally benefit from like building some AP though.
Great.
So
Roa is good.
Roa or like an Abyssal are both like in a good buys.
Right.
Ben tends to like buying both, but yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it really just depends on what you're going up against as far as the enemy team comes. Xenic25 says, "Do we recycle any abilities for Galio that previously didn't make it live on the other champs?"
Recycle any abilities in Galio that previously didn't like.
So we designed this for another champion side. It doesn't really work for this champ, but for the new Galio
It's
kit.
not specifically that, but the W is a spell that I actually used to try on Poppy.
Okay.
Not exactly the same thing, but the idea was that it was a hold down the spell to like enter like a defensive stance. That would and like depending on how long you held it, like if you got it changed. It's a little different, but that's where the start of the ability was.
I can see why you didn't do that on Poppy. Like that, I've played a decent amount of Poppy top, and I can see how that would be.
I mean,
Not feel
yeah,
the same.
at the end of the day, she needed some ability to feel like Poppy. So I wanted to not do stuff that made her stop.
The English designer, like that name, nice name. The English designer. It says, "Is there a Riot design principle for what key to place what ability onto? Will the damage ability always be on a Q, the defensive one on a W, and the movement on a E?"
So there's not like it's not like a hard and set rule, but we basically just built up like a convention, if you will, that we just like tend to default to in most cases.
Yeah.
So generally, the spell that we generally want you to be leveling first and using a lot tends to be on the Q.
Right.
And the mobility spell or like utility spell the mobility spell tends to be on the E if there's a mobility spell.
Yep.
And the defensive spell tends to be on the W.
Okay.
So those are the trends.
So it's
not
designed, but it's also learned behavior on the player's part, right?
Yeah.
Like we
It's
we've
kind of also
trained
like
them to do
expect
so.
that like hey, if you're seeing a new champion and you have no idea what to do, well, level 2, that probably is what you're supposed to be doing at this time.
Gotcha. Okay, Ben. That first game, It was a little rough.
A little rough.
It was a little rough, right? It's okay though. We're gonna.
That's where Galio's gonna struggle the most, is when an AD carry gets pretty fed.
Right.
So.
Excuse me. So we do play a second game. We're gonna play another game here. Ben, you're gonna be able to do the. You're gonna try the top lane, Galio, this time.
Yeah, we can do top lane.
Okay, so we're gonna do it this time. So we haven't really. Excuse me. Goodness. Ugh. Sorry, I got like 8 hours of sleep last night. Why am I yawning? So we haven't really discussed too much about like how we've talked about how we see him mid lane. Ben says he normally plays in mid lane. Like what is our intention moving into this? Like we've covered that he's not really a jungler, but like the breakdown between top and mid with Galio.
So we think getting all the potential out of the character would be his mid lane because of his ultimate and like the roaming potential that it provides to the character.
Yeah.
And top, it obviously makes it like much more limited where you can roam with the spell and all that kind of stuff. He also tends to be better against like how do you call it, squishy targets. Because his damage tends to be like early on, it tends to be a lot relatively bursty, opposed to being like sustained. And obviously he prefers like magic damage dealers opposed to like AD physical damage dealers. So there's that. We do think that he would be able to would perform in top lane also though, mainly depending on like what kind of character you're playing against. We think he's probably going to be pretty good against like the top lane like the top lane magic damage dealers, for example, tanks or like Rumble or stuff like that.
Maokai, Rumble, yada yada. Okay.
He tends to struggle more against like the more carry-ish top laners because they will end up eventually outscaling Galio.
Right.
And Galio tends to be not the greatest person at like putting cold pressure on the enemy.
Right. So basically like. Look, like if you're Galio and you pick into something like a Fiora or
or like even like something like Darius, where like they have
Darius
like,
or Illaoi
damage or stuff like that.
Juggernauts are not going to be.
Juggernauts are generally not the greatest. I mean, Galio won't like probably die to the guys, but he will also like not be the greatest pick.
He's not going to have a good time. He's not going to farm effectively. He's probably not going to be because he's not.
Farm, but that'll be pretty much it. And yeah.
Well, I mean, if he's able to farm, then like he should, in theory, scale pretty strongly since he's.
I'm sure he'll work.
Yeah, I
CC
mean,
and he's tanky. So.
There's no reason why he wouldn't work, but he's not necessarily like. Azen 9096 says, "What is that room? Is it part of Riot's HQ? Is it a dedicated room for streaming by Riot?" It is our stream room. This is our streaming room. We actually were looking into ways to improve the streaming room, to like make a better setup so that we can do more types of streams and stuff like that. So we'll see if that happens or not. So our money is asking a question that I've seen it more than a few times here. Galio, new Galio in pro play. What do you think? Do you think it's going to happen? Do you think he has a... Does he have a kit that could fit into the current LCS meta?
I think so.
Yeah? I mean...
We hope to see him like, as like a relatively more niche pick. But, yeah.
Are you a big LCS fan yourself?
Yeah.
Yeah? Who do you think playstyle like wise he really would fit into?
That's interesting.
It's an interesting question, right? We should get like Jat or Turley or somebody in here to answer that question.
Maybe.
Probably. Yeah.
I would expect people who are really good with like Shen teleports and like teleports and stuff like that. That like actually the difficulty is that like I'm not entirely sure. Like top laners I could think of more because like top laners tend to already like have a bunch of like people who are good at like Shen ulting or like teleporting.
Right.
I don't really have a good grasp on whether. If he's ever picked mid, that any like I don't know who of the LCS mid laners have that kind of like are good at that kind of like map reading and stuff.
Gotcha. Cool. Ben, can you go back and re-switch the video to the 144 thing? It's under video.
Was that better?
It seemed like it went away a little bit. So 144, and then I guess we'll leave it like that. Oh, leave off the anti-aliasing, I think. Yeah. There we go. All right. Hopefully that should make it okay.
Kind of baffling, but video causes that?
It must be like either the HDMI cable or a USB cable or something like that that's causing that. It's one of the things that we thought we figured it out. We fixed it, and it's not actually fixed right now. So, yeah, we do have 8 ping right now. Kenshin Kenshin XD123. We are currently playing on the PBE. The PBE is located here in Los Angeles, where we are. So, and you are playing the Hextech skin, is that right?
Yep.
Oh yeah, that's pretty sweet. Going up against a Yasuo. Why do I feel like you're not going to have a good time with this?
It's not too bad.
Is it not? Okay.
No, it's not as bad as you think.
Okay. I like the the Hextech visual effects. Are they the same as the base VFX?
I'm not sure if you haven't gotten to it yet, but they should be recolored.
Okay. Can the cube backward jump go over super thin walls? No, Waffle, it cannot. We actually, if you will go back into the earlier part of the stream, you can see where we talked quite a bit about why Galio's dash and the components of his dash do not actually go over walls. Yes, we know. Sorry, folks. Hopefully, we can get this resolved. You may actually want to turn off the other one as well. I think that actually made it go away when you have time. The other, not wait for vertical sync, but no, turn.
I feel like we've been touching this option screen for forever.
I know, right? It's annoying. I'm sorry, folks. I apologize for this experience. So,
An enemy has
the D Rob L is asking, why make him into a huge character? What sparked that? So that was like we were talking a little bit about kind of like his new lore, his new story, which is still to come. So we don't want to give too many spoilers about that, but like it has to do with I think like the way his character has evolved some, right?